Oh boy, this will end up happening. My friends, if you are not aware, but I believe you are aware, the US ended up striking Iranian nuclear facilities. This is a very sensitive topic, of course, so not going to do my normal introduction. If you guys want to leave a like, I still appreciate it. But we go direct to the point. Basically, I wake up to this. It was, I believe, midnight or something in my country when this ended up happening. And I thought doing a video to all of you, also to know your perspective about this, because I'm pretty sure this is a topic that divides a lot of Americans, even probably Trump supporters. On this case, I want to be clear, I'm Team America in the sense that Iran had 60 days to come to a deal. They ended up rejecting all the offers from what I understand, and I knew this could be a consequence and end up happening. Look, if you try to mess with America, a lot of times you guys have an expression that F around and find out. I also think if you believe that Iran having nuclear weapons is a good idea, you probably don't understand geopolitical problems that well, in the sense that they finance a lot of terrorist groups like Hamas, like Houthis, and look, even if you try to ignore the problem will come eventually. So again, is this the perfect solution? Probably not, but I understand why this ended up happening. That said, let's play it. And actually, one more thing. I feel awful for all the innocent people in Iran, because from what I understand, also, they don't even like the government. They are the ones that get affected the most. But sadly, it is what it is at this point. Let's play.
All right, joining us now with more is Israeli Special Ops veteran Aaron Cohn is with us. Aaron, we have gamed this out now since the start of this conflict. We knew probably after October 7th that big things in the region were likely to happen down the road. The Iranians were given every opportunity to stop fomenting terror. They're the #1 state sponsor of terror. And I want to lead into my question by reminding people I've been to Israel many times. And I've been in those underground terror tunnels, and I've been to the border towns like Sderot. By the time I had been there, it was a town that had been hit with 10,000 rockets in the 10 previous years. It was a town with the naked eye, you could see Gaza, and children had to play in underground bunker playgrounds because it only took 12, 13 seconds for a rocket to be fired and land in that town. I saw the progression of...
Sorry, a couple of things here. The situation is dramatic in the Middle East, and people think the conflict is just between Iran and Israel. No, there is Libya. There is a lot of conflicts there. So people are afraid that this can escalate quite quickly, and I think there is good reason for that, to be fair. I've been reacting to a lot of military videos lately, and if you guys follow me, you guys know I said this multiple times. I end up believing that Iran and America eventually going to war was something that would happen. So I'm not totally surprised, to be fair. I think Israel already ended up weakening Iran a lot, but I think they need America to finish the job. Again, my friends, I'm being honest. If you disagree, I understand, because there is also other vision that say, look, we care about America. Why are we getting involved into this? I just think, and this is my point, that I kind of understand in the sense that, okay, but if they have nuclear weapons, the problem will eventually happen, you know. So
the rockets that were being fired into Israel, how much more lethal they were on year 10 than year 1, to inflict maximum harm and carnage and damage to human life. So, you know, I ask Americans tonight, maybe there are a couple that are skeptical, although the Insider Advantage Trafalgar poll said that the president, by any means necessary, should take out these nuclear sites. But anybody that might have doubt, how many rockets would need to be fired into an American town or city before Americans would demand that their government respond? If you add up all the rockets over all the decades that have been fired into Israel, how many hundreds of thousands have been fired? If you talk about Lebanon, if you talk about Gaza, now the Houthi rebels, the Iranians directly, how many more missiles will Israel be able to withstand? At this point, it seems like a line has to be drawn in the sand. If you fire a missile at Israel, it is over. You will be obliterated again. And once that message goes out, probably it stops. That's my hope.
Sean, you nailed it. Tonight's strike, look, not only historic, as you said, but this was an intelligence-driven decapitation of the #1 state sponsor of terror and Iran's nuclear program. And you can't have the #1 state sponsor of terror have nuclear capability, period. So
I mean, this point is so valid, my friends, because look, what Iran does, it's really, really bad, you know, because the amount of terrorist groups, I was seeing a list and it was quite more than I thought. Some of the terrorist groups I didn't even know they end up existing. But all of these regions, they finance a lot of terrorist groups. It's kind of crazy. By the way, they even give drones to Russia.
The #1 state sponsor of terror have nuclear capability, period. So Fordow, Natanz, Esfahan, all critical to weaponizing uranium, hit in one coordinated operation. And it worked because the United States and Israel, who I believe have been planning this for quite some time, knew exactly when to strike. Months of joint U.S. and Israeli intelligence, cyber, deep and dangerous human intelligence. Sean, that's the Israeli intel organization Mossad and Unit 8200, deep inside of Iran, satellite, tons of signal intercepts, all converging to map every inch of these facilities, according to my friends who are now running the show in Israel from back in my day. So the 2-week delay that Brett mentioned, that and the operational silence here, deception, beautifully played, gave Iran just enough confidence to relax. And then they got hit. So Sean, Fordow, in my opinion, was their insurance policy, the IRGC's insurance policy, and now it's rubble. And without a nuclear deterrent, the regime's soft white underbelly is exposed. And if they retaliate, which I agree with Brett, they will. But if they retaliate recklessly...
Okay, sorry. But when they say they will retaliate against Israel, not against America, right? I mean, with all the respect, they are not that dumb to try to strike America. I mean, that seems completely insane. Specific, not just because America. If they, let's say, in a crazy event, they tries to strike the mainland, the American homeland, even NATO will intervene here, because if one of the members of NATO gets attacked, all the others have to provide help. Now look, I know this is a sensitive topic, but let's have some fun. Not that America needs help from NATO. I'm aware America can very easily take care of themselves, but I'm just saying there will be even that.
They retaliate, which I agree with Brett, they will.
Sorry, do you guys think that they will try to attack, for example, the aircraft carriers that are in this region?
But if they retaliate recklessly, missiles at U.S. targets, proxies, cyber, they're not just risking escalation. It's an important point that Brett mentioned. They're risking regime total collapse. But Trump didn't wait. He understood the threat. He took the shot. It wasn't impulsive. It was preemptive. And he waited the last possible moment. And I believe that strike, Sean, has shattered the myth of that regime invincibility. These guys like to beat their chest. But the Iranian people saw it. The Americans saw it. Europe just saw it. The entire world just saw it. And now it's...
Iran looks really bad, my friends, right now. The amount of damage that Israel did to them, and the missiles are running out, by the way. I was also, seeing news about this. Now with America, oh man, this is really bad news for them. Coming to a peace deal is the only logic reason. The problem is, a lot of times, if you look at all the events that became Iran, what Iran is right now, they don't follow logic. So
it's time for the regime to come to the table or risk losing complete regime change from within. Because, Sean, if Fordow can fall, I promise you, so can the entire Islamic Republic.
I think that's very powerful. You know, both the president and Prime Minister Netanyahu both congratulated each other and both recognized how they worked together to accomplish what is historic. Taking out these facilities, it has been discussed. This has been the #1 state sponsor of terror. It has gone on for decades. The President Trump saying, thanking, congratulating the Prime Minister. We can go over all of their military successes, taking out all.
My friend, so this is J.D. Vance, right? Rubio, and this one I know is a very important person in the Trump administration, but I don't know his name. But it's fair to say those are the four most powerful people in America right now, in the American government. I mean, Trump, logic, of course, and even J.D. Vance, but even the other two, I think they are crazy powerful.
All of the top leadership of Hamas, taking out Nasrallah, who'd been a leader for 32 years, taking out other.
Wait, what happened?
Taking out the scientists, the nuclear scientists in Iran, taking out their top generals in Iran, even yesterday. I mean, it is the pager incident, and I can go on and on, what they've been able to do to knock out, for example, no easy task, but just to knock out their ability or gaining the ability to control the airways by knocking out their air defense system. Not a simple thing to do. Knocking out their missile defense systems, knocking out their batteries, knocking out their military sites, you know, pounding their nuclear sites to prepare for this final attack by the U.S. tonight.
If you guys want to see how a country can change with religion, take a look at the Iran pre the Islamic revolution. It was basically a Western country.
Sean, 100%. This was an intelligence-driven masterpiece. I don't know how else to explain it. And what the world saw tonight with these strikes on Fordo and Natanz and Esfahan, I believe was the final move, as I said before, in months long. I mean, this is chess played by America, by Trump, and Israel's top intelligence people. So I think the key here with this one, I agree with everything you just said. This goes back quite some time here, but I think the key for this one was knowing exactly when to hit, where to hit, and how to ensure that everything inside was still there when they hit. Remember, that pause may have.
So I know the B-2 bomber is America, is the exclusive of America, but this bomb, right, is also something that only America owns.
Created some motion within the IRGC to try and start moving things. So a lot of very coordinated, intelligence-driven operations. But, you know, this time, unlike Iraq, and I'm thinking of Reagan in my head, Iran's nuclear facility was the crown jewel of Iran's strength. And that's the importing of their terrorism brands. And so taking out the operational engines of that nuclear bomb has rung out to the entire world. It's going to create a paradigm shift here. And we know how deep Fordo was buried underneath. You had the Natanz, which ran the centrifuge cascades is what they're called. Esfahan is where that uranium was getting converted to that warhead grade material. And all of them now are smashed. So the tactical execution was not only flawless, but the ability to keep the signal completely silent to the media, to everybody, was a masterclass in intelligence. And not a single U.S. aircraft was lost. That message is, we can reach you anywhere. You're never going to see it coming. Don't mess with the United States. And Fordow wasn't just a facility, Sean. It was a symbol.
Actually, we are going to run that part back. Those words are very well put. Messing with America is really them.
Execution was not only flawless, but the ability to keep the signal completely silent to the media, to everybody, was a masterclass in intelligence. And not a single U.S. aircraft was lost. That message is, we can reach you anywhere. You're never going to see it coming. Don't mess with the United States.
No.
And Fordow wasn't just a facility, Sean. It was a symbol. And now it's gone. And I salute the president. I salute Israel. Nobody does this better. When you put the Americans and the Israelis together, Sean, you've got a very lethal playground with some incredible signal.
I mean, the IDF is really strong. And with this Hamas situation, the Iran situation, I mean, I'm super impressed with what Israel is capable to do. But what this guy said in terms of America being basically flawless when it comes to this type of stuff comes to surprise of no one. You know, I mean, if you mess with America, look at history. It's always a bad idea.
To what Brett said, that's what the world needs to see. The Iranians may come back and try and sting a little bit, but my warning to them is be careful. You know, flex your little bicep, but remember, you can be taken down as a regime, and there's very good people and people outside of Iran ready to come back to Iran and rebuild that country, and they'll do.
Sorry for so many pauses, but I actually believe this is the best part. Is basically the change needs to come from inside. You know, even the people need to have some type of revolution. The regime needs to fall. There is a lot of things in play, of course, but this is the way to go, in my perspective.
Do it in a heartbeat, so be warned.
Bordeaux, gone. Natanz, gone. Esfahan, gone. Unbelievable. What an amazing military feat by the U.S. military tonight, and great work preparing the way by the Israeli military. And as the president said, you know, they work together as a team like no other team has ever worked before. And they worked in a long way to erase the horrible threat to Israel. I do believe, and I'll end on this, Aaron, is that I talk a lot about the Trump doctrine. I think there needs to be a new Israel doctrine, and that is you fire one rocket into Israel, you will be obliterated. It has to happen. People cannot live this way, you know, for decades and decades. At that point, I'd like to see the Abraham Accords, maybe as a consequence of tonight, maybe something good that will come out of tonight will be that countries in the region will recognize Israel and their right to exist and create partnerships and business arrangements and a coalition of peace and to eliminate extremism in the entire region. Aaron Cohn, thank you, sir. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
Thank you so much, my friends. Again, sensitive topic, I understand. If you guys like this type of topics, I can cover more. Just show some support, leaving the like, leaving a comment, even if you disagree with the things said on the video or the things that I said. Totally free speech here, as you guys are aware, as long you don't offend someone, you know. But yeah, thank you so much. See you guys. Actually, offend someone is not the word, but as long you have good faith when debating this type of stuff. My friends, thank you so much. See you guys in the next one. Bye.